I'm surprised we haven't gotten any notifications about, oh my god, your batteries are running out. Because mine have been...
this game knows better than to, annoy you every 5 seconds about your batteries being low.
Yeah, well, mostly what I'm saying is I'm surprised it hasn't gotten to 0 bars, because most games will at least have a little pop-up of, by the way, you might want to stop before your batteries die.
Fair enough.
Like, even the Galaxy games have a little, but your battery's low.
Yeah. So, welcome back to Trauma Center New Blood. Are you ready to do some brain surgery?
Oh, God. No.
That's what I meant by fun.
At least it's not rocket science.
Yes,
true.
The scar on Wilkens' head was exactly what we thought it was. An electronic device has been embedded in his brain.
Okay.
As you can see in this picture.
That explains the change in behavior.
I can't see the picture.
Yes.
But how was he able to conduct Kidman's stigma research? I mean, with that thing controlling his brain.
How are you able to do anything without being able to see through your glasses?
It's like being under hypnosis. He could be manipulated by the power of suggestion, but he still retained his intelligence.
So, is it possible to change him back to normal? And is an operation necessary?
I'm gonna go with yes and yes.
His family would like us to try.
The authorities have also consented. They want to hear his testimony in his normal state.
I believe it's possible, if the device can be removed without damaging his brain.
Yeah, that's the key part there.
Yeah.
Without damaging his brain.
Dr. Vaughn, I'd like to hear your opinion.
I think we should call in a neuro...
I think we should give it a shot. For the professor's sake.
Because, I mean, they're probably general surgeons.
Yeah.
For the,
Then,
the
we should
variety
start
of things that
considering the
they
obstacles we'll
treat.
face while performing the surgery. Dr. Everett, I'll let you know the time and the place once we've given this more thought.
Which is actually why I kind of like what they did in Trauma Team, where they actually, gave them specialties.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. There is one last question I'd like to raise.
Because don't get me wrong, there are general surgeons, but, there are some things that we treat that would definitely be treated by, like,
Specialists.
a cardiologist or something,
Yeah.
It may have occurred to you already, but I don't blame you for not mentioning it. Who was able to perform such a difficult operation?
That's a good question, but I don't know what the answer to it is.
We'll be performing brain surgery on you, Professor. I'd be lying if I said it was going to be easy, but it's necessary to return you to your normal self.
I don't think he can hear you, Dr. Vaughn.
I'm a doctor, and this is my patient. He deserves an explanation.
Is he even aware that his name is Wilkens? Maybe you should address him as director.
That would be defeating the purpose, Val. Professor, if you know the name of the surgeon who operated on you, can you please tell me? Otherwise, we'll have to make our diagnosis during the operation. Do you despise me, Professor?
He's a talkative one.
After all, if I hadn't discovered Stigma, then none of this would have occurred, and you wouldn't be in this condition. If only I'd done things differently.
You are mistaken. Stigma was destined to be born from the very beginning. It matters not who was responsible for its discovery. We are blessed to have witnessed such a marvelous creation.
Professor?
Can you not imagine the possibilities of the next generation of Stigma? It searches for a way to coexist within the human body, and I intend to grant its wish.
What are you saying?
This isn't the professor. It may be his body, but there's something else inside of him.
Lloyd Wilkens.
I'll explain the situation. This operation's objective is the removal of a number of plugs from an implant in the professor's brain. This complex device releases a weak electrical current that can modify a person's personality. The plugs transmit that current to a specific section of nerves in the brain.
I can't believe that Kidman and his group were capable of creating something like this.
Nor can I. This isn't a device that can be handled with the equipment we've seen in their possession. Needless to say, it would require advanced equipment as well as skill to implant something like this. Extracting the plugs will be a difficult task, but I've told Elena the operational procedure. This goes without saying, but working on the brain carries great risk. You must work with the utmost care to prevent minimal after effects to the professor's brain.
Yeah, any misses
Yes,
that
prevent
you have,
minimal after effects. Save it for the maximal after effects.
any misses that you
That's what I
get
have
do
in
more
mind.
damage.
We must succeed. With
I assume
this
you can
operation.
still stab
A
the
device
needle
like
wherever
that
for the stabilizer.
shouldn't exist.
Yes.
Please prepare for the procedure.
All
We
right,
can't
I'm
make any
prepared.
mistakes. Let's begin the-
Well, let's begin the operation.
Okay, well,
To begin with, we'll work on the actual implant itself.
it's gonna
Help if we
be
could-
tricky.
Before we can remove the plugs from the implant, we need to put the device into sleep mode.
What we need to do is we're gonna use the forceps to remove these, and we have to basically take them from here to the tray without touching any of those sparky-looking things.
Use the forceps to pull out the 3 chips in the
Okay.
center. I'm told that doing this will cause part of its functions
They're,
to be
also, they're gonna
suspended.
speed up.
But please be
you know,
careful.
with-
Please place it the
course
first
they
chip.
will.
You remove
That's
them.
the next chip.
Now, this is actually the easy
last
part.
chip.
Okay.
Now, let's move on to extracting the plugs. The
You
affected
may want to
area
let
is
me
over
do this
here.
part.
These
I
5
will
plugs are
agree with
supposedly
you
sending special
blindly
signals into
because
the
that seems like
professor's
the most
brain.
reasonable course of action.
You'll
If we
see.
remove all 5 of them, the implant will stop having an effect on his personality.
What are these lights on the ends of the plugs?
It seems that they light up when they receive signals from the main system. Because of the modifications we made to the implant earlier, the transmission signal is cutting out. Please pull out each. Be sure to pull it in the. It's out. The first plug has been removed. Please move on to the second. Pull it out. Now place it. That's the third one. We've removed more. This now put it.
Good, that's all the plugs.
We've disabled the personality disruptor. Finally, we need to turn the implant back on.
This is where hard
we
mode
just
is
leave it alone?
engaged.
The device is in an unstable condition, and it's apparently dangerous to leave it as it is now.
Also, this takes very little time.
Hey,
So look
what's
at how
with
fast
this?
they're going.
Oh boy.
Also, you see that one right there? It just kind of wanders around randomly.
Okay.
So all the other ones are moving, you know, in their concentric circles.
Yeah.
All we have to do now is place the chips we removed back into the center. But
We have to put
I'm
them in
pretty sure
while
if you
avoiding
touch
those
one of
moving
these, you
things?
actually like instantly fail.
yes, that will be the
Huh.
case.
Well, we're in no...
Place that chip in the center. That's the first one. Just 2 more to go. Please be careful. That's 2 down.
You gotta watch for the,
This is the last
random one.
There we go.
Oh boy, that was fun.
Great work.
Uh-huh.
Now,
All steps of the operation
if
have
you have
been
trouble with
completed.
that part, no shame in using the healing touch there from the last one.
I
It
hope
helps
this
a
will
lot.
return the
Yeah, I would
professor to
imagine.
normal.
We'll just have to wait until he regains consciousness and see for ourselves.
All right, good job, team.
I'm helping.
And so, the only thing is you'll miss the bonus.
Oh, yeah.
And also, look at those.
Jeez.
Complete in less than 12 seconds, less than 15 seconds, and less than 12 seconds.
Jeez.
Woo!
Where am I?
I'm good at this game sometimes.
Yeah?
He's awake.
Is he back to his usual self?
I see the operation was a success. I'm glad I didn't fall victim to my creation. To Stigma.
Professor?
His memory has reverted back to when we operated on him at Concordia.
Marcus, I've decided to take your advice and stop researching Stigma. I had a dream. Actually, it was more like a nightmare. So I'm terminating the project.
I think that's best.
You're not gonna tell him the truth, Marcus?
It's not for me to say. It's the director's decision.
Good. You're all still here.
You could have just paged us.
That's okay. I'm sure you're all tired from the surgery. I apologize for the short notice, but there will be another meeting tomorrow.
Is it an urgent meeting, though? That's the question.
We'll be discussing
Well, clearly
the
not if it's
international
tomorrow.
investigation of the Stigma Syndicate.
I don't know. Sounds pretty important.
Doctors from the other Caduceus branches will be present.
I'm concerned about the professor's condition, but I'll try to make time for it.
There's one other thing you should know, just so you aren't taken by surprise. One of the topics on tomorrow's agenda concerns Cynthia.
How so?
She's in Central Asia, Caucasus, to be precise.
Ah, that's the other made-up country.
And she appears to be there on behalf of the Syndicate.
What?
And it just cuts. Yep, still no closer to spelling anything meaningful.
No.
This group based in Caucasus calls itself Parnassus. The Syndicate was researching Stigma under their supervision. Their leader is a man known as Master Vahushti, who, according to our records, has resided in the
spelling does
United
not look
States
like that
under the name
pronunciation.
Ray Korinsky.
He kind of leaves out the K, like Vakushti,
Yeah.
is the way that I would pronounce it.
It's off screen, so I don't know what it looks like enough to say how I'd pronounce it. I just know that it was a weird combination of letters that didn't sound like what he said. It looked like what he
Ray?
said. You know what I mean?
You've got to be kidding.
You know him?
He and Cynthia were seeing each other.
This man, Vahushti, is quite famous in the world of medicine.
There you go. I'm just going to leave it up there for a few seconds so you can have a nice long look at it.
After obtaining a medical license in North Carolina, he and a friend started a business venture, which quickly grew into a major manufacturer of precision instruments and implant devices. That company is Columba and Cornix, a subsidiary of the Humani Corporation.
We've heard that name before.
So Professor Korinsky is Master Vahushti.
You're a little late to the party there, Marcus.
He provided me with advice regarding Elena's transplant operation.
Do you remember that far back?
No.
Remember how she had the pump on her pancreas? 'Cause she
Which
had
one
that
was Elena?
disease. She's the nurse that's been helping us this whole time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, back then, the person who provided the instructions for replacing the chips on her pump was Kerensky. So, this guy.
That bastard.
Excuse me. My name is Hans Nilsson, and I'd like to make a statement on behalf of Humani. Neither our company nor Columba and Cornix has supported the Syndicate in any way. In fact, it's quite the contrary. We, too, have become victims of their scheme.
Please save the
Oh, God, you're
explanation
back.
for later. We need to evaluate our current situation.
I'm sorry. I thought that was the last time.
Someone just...
Now, we've learned that an
duct tape her
individual
mouth
named
shut.
Cynthia Kazakov has ties to Vahushti.
She worked here at Caduceus for a while. She was directly involved with the Stigma research.
And Mr. Marshall, according to a different report, Cynthia was a member of a secret research team for the U.S. Army and Humani. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I've been informed.
How far has the military's research progressed?
I cannot make any comments on that, except I've
This
been
comment
informed
I'm
that
going
no
to make
research
on
was
that.
conducted exploring military uses of Stigma.
Cynthia, how many people were you spying on?
Now, according to that report, 3.
She had the trust of Kidman, Caduceus, and the U.S. Army. We should assume that most, if not all, of the research data is now in Parnassus's hands. And I'm told that their level of activity has increased as of late. Dr. Stiles of Caduceus, Japan, who was dispatched to Caucasus, will now give us the details.
Okay, so he was the protagonist in the first 2 games in the series.
By first 2, you mean first 2 that were the same one?
Well, no. So he's the
okay.
protagonist in Under the Knife, and then Second Opinion is a remake of the same game. So he's
Okay.
also the protagonist in that game, but then there's
Okay, so...
Under the Knife 2, which is a sequel. So it's technically 2 games.
Okay. So,
But he's
so the first
3.
2 unique games. Unique
Yes.
storied games.
Now, okay, the one thing that's interesting is I think in the American version of Under the Knife, he works for Caduceus USA.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in the Japanese version, he works for Caduceus Japan. And so I think in the American games, he works for Caduceus USA, And then, by the time that this game rolls around, he's working for Caduceus Japan, but...
And it's definitely not because of a localization oversight.
Yeah. No, well, in this game, I think it's consistent. But, it's just one of those funny things.
Yeah.
Like Ace Attorney, for example.
Yeah, how they have to...
Totally set in California.
I was going to say how they end up making more and more ridiculous explanations for how this is definitely California.
Yeah. Like, why is there this yokai village in California?
I'm sure you all know, but he's the doctor responsible for saving the world from guilt.
So, Under the Knife 1/second opinion.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to take a moment to update you on the current status of Caucasus. While I was there, I treated a number of patients who'd been
Oh, good. We're
infected with
not
stigma.
actually the only ones that can do that.
No, he's actually...
Thank God.
Well, he was like, the world-renowned surgeon before we were.
Yeah.
Similarly, the U.S. branch has dealt with a variety of cases as indicated in their report. But the true problem is this organization called Parnassus, mentioned earlier. The local police are investigating the matter, with the assistance of the Russian army.
The United States will be providing support as well in order to crush Parnassus.
Her voice is the endoscopy of this game.
Yeah.
We will be supplying both instruments and medicine.
It's
in addition to dispatching
something
doctors
about it
from
is just
Caduceus.
not right, and I can't exactly
believe
put my
that's a
finger
very
on it,
wise
but it
decision.
upsets me for some reason.
I mean, it's mostly the monotone, I think.
Yeah, but Robot
already
Lady didn't bother me
volunteered
this much.
I hope you have no objections.
Maybe it's like something in the timbre of her voice,
I don't
too.
know. Something about it
I'll
that
go
just gets on
and
my
put an
nerves,
end to
though.
this.
I'd like to know the truth. I was friends with Cynthia, after all.
This is Angie Thompson. She assists me with my operations.
So, she was the nurse that assisted him
In
during
the other
games where he's...
Yeah.
She
Call
accompanied me to
back.
Caucasus and helped to analyze stigma at the scene.
The research data provided by everyone was quite useful, but the stigma are showing signs of change. Unfortunately, they're not evolving to our advantage.
That's
Could
not
you be
normally...
more specific?
Microorganisms don't normally evolve to our advantage. It's normally to better kill us.
Yeah, no, that's
Not
usually how
intended
it
to be
goes.
to better kill us, but that's just how it works out.
They're beginning to multiply without the existence of calorium.
Well, that's troubling.
Well, crap.
And if they're doing that, then they're becoming much more infectious.
So then, someone's still researching and refining them.
The nature of these infectious strains of stigma changes as it spreads from host to host.
Even better.
However, there's a limit to the number of times a strain can undergo this change. They're planning to utilize this unique characteristic to their advantage by spreading stigma over a limited period of time and then allowing the pathogen to die out naturally.
So they're trying to tame the devil, huh? What a dangerous plan.
Its completion is drawing near. We don't have much time to lose.
On orders from Caduceus, we'll be going to investigate where these weapons will be heading to. We'll leave Caucasus to you guys.
Director Quattro has more detailed research data. It
Is
should
there,
aid you
like-
in your investigation of Caucasus.
Oh, God, what are the other Spanish Numbers? Director Cinco,
Oh,
Uno,
or
Dos,
seis, or
Tres.
siete.
Yeah.
Director Ocho. ESPN 8, the Ocho.
Thank you. That's very reassuring.
These missions will be dangerous, but I know we'll all see each other again.
She's got
There's
like
so
a
much I'd like
T-Rex
to ask
arm
a
thing
master
going on
surgeon
with
like
her
yourself.
one arm.
It's just kind of like folded in a
But
weird
let's
way.
wait until this
Yeah.
is all over.
Yeah, when that time comes, we'll talk about the future of medicine.
Oh yeah, no big deal. We'll just talk about the future of medicine.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Go grab some coffee and talk about the future of medicine.
Dr. Vaughn, the police have stormed in.
Well,
Wait a
shit.
minute. Head to the back.
How can they use that old castle as their base? Have they no respect for history?
They don't have
Nobody
respect
would
for a
ever
lot of
guess that
things.
A terrible disease lurks inside.
I guess they were trying to impress their buyers. Well, if this really is their storehouse, then it should be filled with weapons. At any rate, storming this castle will be no easy task.
Have fun storming the castle.
Think it'll work? It would take a miracle.
We have an emergency. The enemy's used a chemical weapon. A few officers have been hit.
Do we
Oh,
know
that
what
sounds
type
like
of
our job.
substance it is?
It appears to be a blister agent.
We need to treat them immediately. Elena, clean the patients and bring them into the operation tent.
Yes, doctor.
Brian Anderson. Patient toxic gas.
They even had chemical weapons?
Doctor, we've received word that the analysis team is unable to determine what type of gas it is.
It's not stigma though, which is a good thing.
They don't know what it is? Is it some new kind of agent?
What should we do? We can't deal
It's a
with an
secret
unknown
agent.
chemical.
Wait, the patient's symptoms include those from existing poisonous gases. It's like the effects of multiple types of poisonous gases are appearing at once.
Almost like he
So it's a
breathed in multiple
compound
types
of
of
known
poisonous
agents.
gases at once.
Like that.
We do have antidotes for each of the different conditions. Let's treat each condition as it arises. That's all we can do for now.
All right, you ready to play
But the
some
antidotes are
memory
powerful
games?
medicines on their
Oh
own.
god.
If we inject
We're
too
about to
much
play
into the
Simon.
patient, it'll...
Let's use a sedative
Red,
along with
blue, green. Red, blue, green, yellow.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, no, that's
If we sedate
almost
the
exactly
affected
what
area
we'll be doing.
first, we can minimize the amount of antidote we use.
But we won't be able to see where the affected areas are when they're sedated.
Then it's up to us to remember it.
Understood. I'll prep the antidotes.
It's
Please
actually
get
not
ready,
that bad.
doctors.
Okay.
It'll be easier with the two of us.
This will be risky,
Yeah.
but we don't have any other choice. Beginning the operation.
All right, so the way that's gonna work is that the the blisters are gonna come in 3 flavors:
Doctor,
blue,
Orange,
Antidote
grape,
is ready.
and lime.
blue, orange, and red.
I've also injected a coloring
And
agent
so
into the patient as well.
each one of them needs to be injected with a different corresponding color from the vial.
Okay.
But in order to start,
Do they
treating
match the
them-
color that they go into?
Yes, that's
Okay.
that's what I meant when I said corresponding.
Okay. I mean, I figured that's what you meant, but
The
it
affected
just
areas
double
should
checking.
now have visibly different colors. Inject the antidotes
And it's not just
into
because of the
areas with
cartoony
same
graphics of this
colors.
game.
Well, please
Okay,
open him up.
so what we have to do in order to actually treat them, though, is we have to inject something that will hide the colors from us. So basically, we have to look at the colors and
Memorize
which
and
ones,
locations
and
of
then
the
I take it white
informations.
is the...
Once you have them
yeah. Okay,
memorized,
so
and
that
key
one's actually the
informations have been
orange. So if it's
sedated,
yellow, it
please continue
goes
using
with the
the
orange one.
antidotes on the inflammations.
So
with
these
the
ones are
same
both
color
orange.
As the medicine.
Okay.
Here you can.
The inflammation
start helping
seemed to
with
have been
these.
reduced,
Yeah.
but the
I'm like
numbers
trying
were
to...
still high.
I don't know. I probably should have been able to do
That
things, but
more
I'm
of
still
them will
processing
appear
shit.
soon.
Okay.
More
So
inflammations
Okay, so
are
that's
Red.
red, I assume?
Yeah, red, orange, orange. And of course, if you leave them alone for too long,
Okay, so those are blue.
Yep.
And
orange on the left.
what? Oh, I still had stuff in my thing,
Signs of
maybe?
inflammation.
And
You
missed
might
the
you
bottle.
might have missed it by a
I
little.
think I just
Still
missed the
high.
bottle and injected stuff where it shouldn't be.
Okay.
There are more
Uh,
inflammations.
I'll get the red ones. Blue are in the top left.
Yeah, I can get...
It doesn't look like we'll see any more
All right. I think there's
inflammations.
one more wave.
We can't let
Okay.
our guard down yet.
More.
All right.
Okay, so blue... I'll get the yellow, and then you get the blue, and then everything else is red.
Oh, one more.
Okay, yellow, red, blue. So that's not too bad.
All signs of inflammation have disappeared. His
It's nice when
numbers
it
are
shows
back
up
to
in
normal.
patterns like that, where it's like,
Should be all right
okay,
now.
the screen is
Let's
clearly
start closing
divided
them
into
up.
thirds, and each one's a different color.
Yeah. They could
Please
make
close
that
them
very
up.
tricky if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they could, throw more waves at you too.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that
Send
they
the
didn't.
data from the operation
Yeah.
to the analysis team.
Understood. I think they'll be able to create a specific antidote using this data.
I
Wouldn't
hope
the
so.
specific
I
antidote
never
be
want
all
to
of the
perform an
antidotes?
operation like this again.
Maybe.
Like, that just seems like the logical conclusion.
Oh dang. We ruined our
Dr.
streak.
Blaylock! The police have located Cynthia.
So she is here. I don't know what happened to you, Cynthia, but there's no way I can forgive you for what you've done.
Except for maybe if you've got the same thing going on as that professor whose name I don't remember.
Wilkens.
Probably.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. I've been redxparasite.
I've been Area 327.
Signing out.